with similar appreciation? Nothing can stop the Almighty from fulfilling His promise to bring an end to this satanic system of things. Ask yourself, do I have absolute confidence that none of God's promises will fail, even in the slightest detail, and that all of them will be fulfilled at His appointed time? If so, prove yourself ready by keeping close in mind that fast approaching day of Jehovah. 2 Peter 3:12. Moses remained alert. Paragraph 12. Question: what could have blurred Moses' spiritual vision? Let us consider another example. From a fleshly viewpoint, Moses seemed to be in an exceedingly advantageous position in the Egyptian world. As the adopted son of Pharaoh's daughter, likely he was highly esteemed and enjoyed the finest of foods, the best of clothing, and the most luxurious of surroundings. He received an extensive education. Acts 7:20-22 reads, "In that particular time Moses was born, and he was divinely beautiful, and he was nursed 3 months in his father's home. But when he was exposed, the daughter of Pharaoh picked him up and brought him up as her own son. Consequently, Moses was instructed in all the wisdom of the Egyptians. In fact, he was powerful in his words and deeds." He may have been in line to inherit a magnificent estate. Paragraph 13. Question: how did Moses remain focused on God's promises? Apparently, early training by his parents allowed Moses to discern the folly of idol worship practiced by the Egyptians. The educational system of Egypt and the material splendor of the royal house did not cause Moses to abandon true worship. He must have pondered deeply over God's promises to his forefathers and had a keen desire to prove himself ready to do the divine will. After all, Moses told the sons of Israel, "Jehovah, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob has sent me to you." Exodus 3:15-17 reads, "Then God said once more to Moses, 'This is what you are to say to the sons of Israel. Jehovah, the God of your forefathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob has sent me to you. This is my name to time indefinite, and this is the memorial of me to generation after generation. You go, and you must gather the older men of Israel, and you must say to them, Jehovah, the God of your forefathers, has appeared to me, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, saying, I will without fail give attention to you and to what is being done to you in Egypt. And so I say, I shall bring you up out of affliction by the Egyptians to the land of the Canaanites and the Hittites and the Amorites and the Perizzites and the Hivites and the Jebusites, to a land flowing with milk and honey." Paragraph 14. Question: how were Moses' faith and courage put to the test? Unlike all the idols representing the lifeless gods of Egypt, Jehovah, the true God, was real to Moses. He lived his life as if he could see the one who is invisible. Hebrews 11:24, 25, and 27. Moses had faith that God's people would be liberated, but he did not know when that would be. His strong desire to see the Hebrews set free was manifested by his defending an Israelite slave who was being abused. However, it was not Jehovah's time, so Moses had to live as a fugitive in a faraway land. No doubt it was difficult for him to go from enjoying the comfortable surroundings of the Egyptian court to living in the wilderness. Still, Moses proved himself ready by keeping awake to every instruction Jehovah gave him. Thus, God could use him to bring relief to his brothers after he spent 40 years in Midian. At God's direction, Moses obediently returned to Egypt. The time had come for Moses to carry out a divine commission and to do God's work in God's way. Back in Egypt, Moses, the meekest of all men, needed faith and courage to appear before Pharaoh. He did so not just once, but time and again as the plagues proceeded, not knowing from one plague to the next how many more times he would need to go before Pharaoh. Paragraph 15. Question: despite setbacks, what moved Moses to remain watchful for opportunities to honor his heavenly Father? Over the next 40 years, from 1513 BCE to 1473 BCE, Moses faced disappointments. Yet, he watched for opportunities to honor Jehovah and wholeheartedly encouraged his fellow Israelites to do so. Why? Because he loved Jehovah's name and sovereignty more than his own name. Despite disappointments or setbacks, we too must continue to support God's rulership, confident that his way of doing things is wiser, more righteous, and better than any other. Is that how you feel? Keep awake. Paragraphs 16 and 17. Question: why does Mark 13:35-37 have profound meaning for you? Keep looking, keep awake, for you do not know when the appointed time is. Mark 13:33. Jesus gave that warning when discussing the sign that would mark the conclusion of this wicked system of things. Consider the concluding words to Jesus' great prophecy as recorded by Mark. Keep on the watch, for you do not know when the master of the house is coming, whether late in the day or at midnight or at cock-crowing or early in the morning, in order that when he arrives suddenly, he does not find you sleeping. But what I say to you, I say to all, keep on the watch. Mark 13:35-37. Jesus' exhortation is thought-provoking. He referred to 4 different watches of the night. The final watch would prove to be a challenging time to stay awake, for it lasted from about 3 in the morning until sunrise. War strategists consider this to be the most effective time to attack the enemy, affording the best opportunity to catch them sleeping. Likewise now, when in a spiritual sense the world is sound asleep, we might have our greatest struggle to stay awake. Do we have any doubt that we need to keep awake and keep looking for the foretold end and our deliverance? Paragraph 18. Question: as Jehovah's Witnesses, what inestimable privilege do we have? The animal trainer mentioned at the outset survived the attack by the Bengal tiger. But Bible prophecy unmistakably indicates that neither false religion nor the rest of this wicked system will escape the approaching end. May all of God's servants, young and old, see the seriousness of doing all they can to prove ourselves ready for Jehovah's day, as did Noah and his family. We live in a God-dishonoring world in which teachers of false religion, as well as agnostics and atheists, mock the Creator with their speech. But we cannot risk being affected. Let us take to heart the examples that we have considered and stay watchful for opportunities to defend and honor Jehovah, as described at Deuteronomy 10:17, as the God of gods, yes, the God great, mighty, and fear-inspiring. After listening to this article, do you recall, why did Noah need to give priority to his family's spiritual needs? How are our times remarkably similar to Noah's day? Despite disappointments, why did Moses keep his eyes focused on Jehovah's promises? What Bible prophecies move you to stay awake spiritually? End of article.